Nice. Thanks for those notes.
You're welcome, Kenny. Hey guys, I'm Chris.
And I'm Kendall.
And we're Bike Gearheads.
Today we're going to be talking to you guys about dropper posts. We have 3 of our favorites picked out, and we're going to give you guys some general rules of thumb on picking out a new post for your bike. So dropper posts originally came into the sport as early as the 80s, but they became much more widespread in the 2010s, especially in the trail and enduro scene. And now they're pretty much all across mountain biking. You see them on cross-country race bikes because they really make that big of a difference in your riding.
Some of the early adopters, the brands that created droppers, had external levers underneath the seat, maybe external routing all the way up to, make a bit of a mess. And now the majority of brands are including internal cable routing for the dropper post to create a super seamless integration into your frame. Different droppers vary of what length you can fit based off of the size of your bike. Definitely hit up the manufacturer for the spec on that piece. The simple kinematics behind a dropper is it's up when you're climbing and it's down and out of the way when you're descending, so you have more maneuverability and agility on the bike to make the bike do what you need it to do when you're descending.
Yeah, it really just turns your bike into a more multifaceted tool, right? You can use it to get up the hill efficiently, and you can get down the hill with a totally capable setup. I think the first thing that you just absolutely have to get right with a dropper post is going to be diameter. There's 2 pretty common diameters, that's 30.9 millimeters and 31.6 millimeters. And less common, but still out there, are 27.2 millimeters and 34.9 millimeters. Like I said, you kind of just have to nail one. You can't mess it up. If you get the wrong size for your bike, it's not going to work.
Yep. The other measurement for consideration is the stroke of the actual dropper itself. The big thing here is kind of the integration of how long of a dropper you want. You're starting to see brands have shorter seat tubes so you can fit a longer stroke dropper in there, all the way up to some brands like OneUp with their 240. This specifically is their 210. You can see how long that stroke is compared to this 100 mil SL transfer from Fox. This is a super common dropper for an XC bike. It's a little bit lighter weight, a little bit of a shorter stroke. They don't need as much of the dropper out of the way as, say, on more of a purebred race enduro bike like you would put this 210 on.
The next thing that we need to talk about is insertion depth. So you need to do some research on your bike frame to see how long of a post you can actually fit in there. This is also going to depend on the brand of your dropper, so it takes a little bit of research. You can see, for example, between this OneUp and this Fox, the OneUp is quite a bit more low profile, this actuator, versus the Fox. And so you might be able to fit a longer OneUp post than a Fox in this particular example.
Yeah, and to really dial in exactly what post works with your bike, make sure you reach out to one of our gearheads and they can give you all the information you need on the insertion depth, what length dropper you think that you would like, and they can give you all those details.
Yeah, and another good way too to figure out where you want to be in terms of insertion length and travel is to measure from the top of your seat tube exactly to where you want the top of your post to be. And then, you can use that as a data point to then compare with, the feedback you get from a gearhead on where you want to be in terms of insertion length and travel.
Next thing I'll talk about is the actuators and the levers. Another thing that you have to take into consideration is, does your dropper come with a lever? Some brands do, some don't. If it doesn't come with one, we have awesome dropper levers from Wolftooth, P&W Components, stuff that has different anodizations and colorways to match your build and really get you a comfortable feel that's ergonomic and comfortable for your hand and your build. This one from RockShox is obviously going to come with an axis actuator for this dropper.
Some more notes on levers is, generally speaking, cable-actuated levers are going to be cross-compatible, but there are some scenarios where you're going to want to stick with the same brand as your post. For example, Bike Yoke uses a lever where the cable end is actually on the lever side, whereas OneUp and Fox use systems where the cable end is on the post side. So that's a little detail to keep in mind. And then for, obviously, anything axis, you're going to need the Bluetooth stuff, and then for hydraulic actuators, you're going to want to make sure that the lever is the same brand as the post for compatibility.
Yeah, because with a hydraulic actuated lever, you have to bleed that just like a set of brakes. One thing I've found, and I typically run OneUp or transfers because they're a little bit easier to work on, a little bit more home mechanic friendly.
Yeah, I like the OneUp too because if you are running the same post over multiple seasons on the bike, you can actually adjust the pressure with a shock pump, whereas on the Fox that's not possible. So one little advantage to the OneUp and advantage to cable actuated posts in general.
Yeah, if you're interested in the transfer droppers, make sure you check them out. We have an in-depth video with a review from last fall. Check the link in the description. This is a great dropper that offers cool colorways to maybe match your Fox Kashima suspension, and a wide variety of lengths and diameters, all the way from 100 mil to 200 mil. Sweet, well that is it on our conversation about droppers today. Make sure you reach out to a Gearhead to chat through compatibility, see if you can fit the dropper of your dreams on your bike. Maybe it's an Axis dropper to go with your transmission or a GX Axis build to keep your cockpit super clean, or something a little bit lighter weight like this SL transfer post from Fox. Maybe you're trying to fit a super long post on your Enduro rig. Check out this OneUp. We've got everything you need from different levers and all the droppers on the market.
If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll keep making more. We'll see you guys out on the trails.
Cheers.
You.